Well, thanks so much for joining us for another update on MarkTwainZephyr.com. Also our Facebook and Twitter pages at Mark Twain Zephyr. I'm Robert Tabor, Director of Passenger Development for the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. Great to have you along on the Sunday afternoon, March the 28th, 2021. For the first part of this weekend's update, let's send it to Nick Turinetti, the Operations Manager of the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad, who is at our off-site shop location. We have our 5th truck now in the shops, and Nick will tell you a little bit more about what we're doing with it.
Yeah.
So what's new?
You guys were out here, we were playing with paint.
That's right, watching paint dry. That was like 3 weeks ago.
Yep.
Yeah.
And it might not be very easy to tell, but in the time since you were last out here, I have blasted, primed, and painted brake rigging for 3 trucks worth of the Mark Twain Zephyr. And now it got a little crowded in here, and because of that, we actually went through and all of the parts that have already been prepared are now in another building. And once we had a bit more room, we brought in the last truck, unpowered truck for the Mark Twain Zephyr.
Any idea what car that might have come off? I always ask you that question.
Yeah, as far as I can tell, this looks quite similar to 2 of the others out there. So this is probably one of the original Mark Twain Zephyr trucks. I'm guessing it's not the one that came with the Effie Dean, but again, not anything in particular that I can use to identify it specifically.
So now, over the course of this last week of March and then probably into April, you're going to be taking all the parts off of this, just like you have all the other trucks, and then bead blasting them. And
yep, we'll get this stripped down. Obviously, bead blast and prime and paint all the small parts. So, but I think within the next few days here, we're probably at the point where we can fully disassemble all 5 of the trucks, because I've still got part of the Tom Sawyer's observation truck left to do. We can roll them both out, and at that point we should be able to fully disassemble them and then start sandblasting and checking them for cracks.
All right, sounds good. So that's what we'll be doing probably next time we see you in April.
Yeah, there may be some other interesting things that crop up between now and then, but I think for sure we'll see you guys back out here when we start digging into some of the fancy stuff.
I hope we don't find any cracks or problems. That would be very nice if we passed with flying colors. And
that would be very nice. I'd agree. But even if we do, it's not anything that's too terrible to fix. It's all cast steel. It's fairly easy to take care of as far as going in and getting the welding done that you need to.
All right.
It won't be me doing it, but somebody will be able to get it.
And you said after that it'll be 40 years usually that all the parts are good for generally?
Yeah, the whole point of this rebuild is it's going through everything with the expectation that it's kind of based on standards set by Amtrak for equipment that might run behind their trains. Obviously, the Mark Twain Zephyr is not going to run behind anything because it can't really be joined to anything else. But using their standards kind of is essentially they expect anything that runs under their insurance to have what they deem a 40-year truck rebuild. And essentially, once you've done it, the assumption is that with regular maintenance and no significant issues, that you have trucks that are suitable for 40 years of service. So by doing that here, we're obviously not a railroad that's running at Amtrak speeds, in normal circumstances. So we should be able to get a lot of life out of a 40-year rebuild because we're not doing anything that's particularly stressful for it. It might be busy here in the future as far as taking frequent trips, but the trips it's going to be taking are still pretty short, nice, low speed, no real major stress on any of the components is our hope. So.
All right, well, we'll check back within a few more weeks. Thanks a lot, Nick, from our offsite shop. Hey.
See you guys.
All right, thanks a lot, Nick. And we have a special treat for you this Sunday afternoon. We are going to hear from one of the last engineers on the Mark Twain Zephyr. And this was sent to us, this video was sent to us by one of our viewers. It was recorded about 10 years ago. at the Galesburg Railroad Museum, where a bunch of CB&Q folks were getting together and reminiscing. And so we thought you'd enjoy this, sent in to us and kind of reminiscing about the Mark Twain Zephyr.
Do you guys remember the old early Indian Joe Zephyrs, Mark Twain's?
Yeah.
The old,
they were St. Louis.
Yeah, the shovel-nosed ones. Yeah. I think I've told this story before, Jerry, but you get old, you repeat stories.
It's all right.
So give me a break.
Okay.
I was running emergency. I hadn't been set up yet, and I was running 67 Walker Cox with my conductor, and we got down to Quincy, and we were supposed to go back that morning on 70 about 1:15. I'm in there eating, and the hotel clerk comes in and says, "You're ordered." I said, "Ordered?" He said, "Yeah, you're ordered for a detour." So we get down there to the old West Quincy depot, and here's this Indian Joe Zephyr. And I'm supposed to take it to Hannibal, and I got on the phone, the block phone, and I told the dispatcher, I said, "We're going to Hannibal." I said, "This thing's headed north, it's going the wrong way." And he said, "No," he said, "You're going over in the old West Quincy yard, you're going to run on the, I can't remember what railroad, CN&W or something like that, went into Hannibal." Wabash. Wabash. Well, you go through the Wabash yard, and then you'd come, the dispatcher says, "You're going to come to a Y." And he says, "You'll be all lined up." I had Holy Cedar off for a head brakeman. And we got to the Y, and I didn't know which leg of the Y to take. I said to Holy, I said, "Which way do you go?" He said, "You just don't know." And so I said, "Let's just go the way it's lined, and we'll sneak around here and see what it looks like." And so we got around the south leg of the Y, and there was a green dwarf signal. And I said, "This has got to be it." So we took off, and I didn't know what the speed limit was over there. And so I run about 45 miles, just raining like hell, and the water was coming in them windows and draining down towards that main generator. And I thought, boy, we're going to get a shock out of this. It's coming. And we get up, no pilot. I was supposed to pick up a pilot on the Y, no pilot. And we get up pretty soon. I could see this big bridge that went across the Mississippi, and guy out there with a lantern, he's swinging down, and I get a little closer and stop, and here he is with his New Hampshire fisherman outfit on, the rain suit. And I thought, boy, we're in trouble now. We've got flagged down. And he climbed. I said, "Who are you?" And he said, "Well, I'm your pilot." I said, "Well, where in the hell were you at? Why weren't you?" Oh, he said, "I'm not standing out there in the rain." I said, "Well, where's the depot?" He said, "We just go up here just around the corner." And he said, "That's there." I said, "For Christ's sake, it's about a half a block." And the dispatcher, I told that dispatcher before I left Quincy, I said, "I'm an emergency engineer out of Galesburg." And I said, "We're not supposed to be running passenger trains." And the dispatcher's name was Struck, I think his name was. And he says, "Well," he says, "that's not going to be the case tonight." He says, "You're running passenger tonight." I said, "Okay." So that's what we did.
And you made it.
We always made it, Mike.
He's saying that graciously, believe me.
I got called for 55 one night out on the Expedus running, and the fog on the inside, it was foggy. And you all know what it was like running a passenger train in the fog. It was terrible. And I got on the block phone down here at the depot and called the Hannibal dispatcher. I said, "You know what the weather's like here?" He said, "Yeah, it's just like it is down here in Hannibal. You can't see nothing." And I said, "You're absolutely right." The dispatcher's name was Stokes, was the dispatcher's name. Good kid. And he said, "You're going to be all lined up, and we're holding all trains to West Quincy for your arrival." He said, "You'll have clear signals all the way down." I said, "Okay." I took my eye and I just glued it to the upper right-hand corner of the windshield to pick up that signal that was going by. And 80 miles an hour, picking up that green signal. And as long as that signal was still green, I knew we were good to go. And that's the way, and sure enough, I got to Quincy and there was all the trains sitting there. So that was pretty lucky.
Wow. Wow. Jeez.
All right, thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed that little 5-6 minute clip of one of the engineers of the Zephyrs there reminiscing about his time with the Injun Joe and and the Mark Twain Zephyr. So that wraps up this weekend's update from our Zephyr Studios in Barron, Wisconsin. We'll see you again next Sunday. That's April the 4th. Mark your calendars, 2021, where we'll take a look at more what's going on with the restoration of the Mark Twain Zephyr at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. Thanks so much for joining us for another update on the Mark Twain Zephyr at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. Before you go, please subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's really easy. Depending on what browser you have, just click on the red subscribe button on the lower right-hand side below the video screen, or perhaps it might be in the upper right-hand corner of your screen. This way, you won't miss any of our future updates. For restoration updates throughout the week, head over to marktwainzephyr.com and click on the Restoration Updates link. We usually add a few photos during the week. Our next video update will be next Sunday afternoon. And remember, you can stay in touch with us throughout the week, 24/7 on social media. We mainly use Facebook at Mark Twain Zephyr. We also occasionally use Twitter at Mark Twain Zephyr as well. Once again, thanks for following us and liking us and supporting the Mark Twain Zephyr restoration effort at the Wisconsin Great Northern Railroad. We'll see you back next Sunday at this time.
Fly away.